let's review Tales of Eternia, which was developed by Namco for the PlayStation 1. As a person who has played most of the Tales series, it's a minor miracle that I missed this title until now. The main reason is because I didn't even know this title existed due to never having seen it in a game store, nor having heard about it. This title was released originally as Tales of Destiny 2, even though it had nothing to do with Tales of Destiny. It was then ported as Tales of Eternia to the PSP. I believe this game's popularity might have been obscured due to its launch date and its dedication to two-dimensional graphics in a time when three-dimensional graphics had all but taken over. Tales of Eternia still looks very good, but from a graphical technical viewpoint, its decision to stick to 2D with pre-rendered backgrounds might seem a bit unimpressive during its time. It does have some three-dimensional rendering, mainly in the world map, but Final Fantasy VI and Tales of Fantasia had 3D in the world map back on the Super Nintendo in 1994, around 6 years before Tales of Destiny 2. It was released very late in the PlayStation 1 lifespan, when PlayStation 2 was already available. Final Fantasy X was released just months after Tales of Destiny 2 was released, and those titles are like night and day graphically. However, just because something doesn't look graphically advanced doesn't mean the game isn't fun. I believe Tales of Eternia is a very good game, and is one of the hidden gems in an era where 2D AAA RPGs were on the decline. I'm pleased to say that Tales of Eternia is still loads of fun in 2024. The pre-rendered background is vibrant with polish and variety. The energy of the battle is palpable. You can feel the polish in areas you wouldn't expect. The story is solid, and while it isn't mind-blowing, it does the job of motivating you along. The star of the show has to be the battle. It feels like an evolution of Tales of Fantasia, but less stiff. The battle is action-packed, and you're always on the move. The enemies have a lot of variety, both with visual differences and their fighting styles. You really have to play differently depending on the enemy composition. For example, you have to be aware of which enemies can cast magic. Certain small enemies are very difficult to hit, while some enemies can teleport. Some enemies are flying, while some enemies have a long-range attack. When these combinations of enemies are mixed together, you have to strategize on what is the best approach to keep these enemies under control. The timing for combo chaining isn't as simple as button mashing, and it requires skills to execute. The other star of the show is the music. Moitoi Sakuraba and Shinji Tamura are at their best here, with the music being full of character, energy, atmosphere, and effect. Some of the creepy tracks are a bit dissonant, but I like dissonance. The story is good. Some people might complain that it's nothing special. However, let's have an analogy. I like pepperoni pizza. Is pepperoni pizza anything special? No. But I would take pepperoni pizza over most food. Much of the story is tried and true RPG goodness, and the pacing is pretty good too. I won't spoil much, but one of the things I liked most about the story is the way the world is laid out. The world is a sphere, but it is hollow, and people live on the inner surface of the globe instead of the outer surface. If you look up at the sky, you see the other hemisphere upside down in the sky. I know the idea of having two worlds isn't a new idea in RPGs, but I thought the relationship between these worlds was a bit unique. I also like how the other side of the world had a unique language with its own fictional spoken language and its own writing system. I also like the characters. The dialogue and voice acting are great. I was surprised that this Tales game did not have skits, but I feel that the lack of skits did not take away from this game, as this game was fine without it. The dungeon design is also great. The treasure chests have very useful items, and makes it worthwhile to explore. Most dungeons have a puzzle that usually must be solved to proceed, and these puzzles are usually in relation to the nature of the dungeon. These puzzles are pretty clever. I am surprised at the number and variety of mandatory minigames. I personally like it, but if you hate mini-games, then this game might scratch you in the wrong place. If you're not into the battle system or retro 2D games, then this game isn't for you. This game does show its age in many ways, but if you can overlook that, or if that's your thing, this game is definitely a good game to put on your backlog. Thanks for watching, and happy gaming!